This is the largest state park in the great state of New York. Today, let's start at the Red House area. And this is the top of the hill. This is the summit area. And we'll take a look at the fire tower today. This is a real easy trail to navigate. It's nice and wide, and it's not too steep up here. But we're going to take a left here and take a walk up to the fire tower. There we can begin to see the tower. Now, of course, these fire towers are a thing of the past. In the early 20th century, approximately 1 million acres in the Adirondack and Catskill forest preserves were destroyed by fire. In response, New York State passed legislation that created a Forest Patrol Service and funded the construction and staffing of fire observation stations. The first observation station, or fire tower, built in 1909, was made from crude logs and planks. By 1917, steel towers had replaced wooden ones. Now, in the fall of 1926, the 60-foot Summit Fire Tower on South Mountain was constructed. The following spring, the Summit Fire Tower was first manned. Over the next 50 years, fire observers and rangers positioned atop these fire towers faithfully scanned the forest for signs of smoke. In the 1970s, many fire towers were decommissioned when the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation began using aerial surveillance flights for fire detection. By 1990, the fire tower era had ended. Our next stop here at Allegany State Park will be the Stone Tower. Now, visiting the beautiful stone tower is a real treat, but I wondered when and why the stone tower was built. Here's what I learned. The origin of the state park goes back to engineer Amasa Stone, who purchased 7,000 acres of land in the towns of Elko and Red House in 1873. In a joint effort, the Buffalo Society of National Sciences and the Society for the Preservation of Birds, Fish, and Game acquired the land and opened Allegany State Park on July 20th, 1921. The park has grown to more than 65,000 acres and includes nature trails, hiking trails, and sand beaches, and the stone tower. By 1933, the Civilian Conservation Corps, or CCC, was part of FDR's New Deal, the president's plan to pull the nation out of the Great Depression. The intent of the Civilian Conservation Corps was to create jobs, putting unemployed, unmarried men 18 to 25 to work preserving the national resources in the nation's rural, government-owned or managed lands. The Department of Agriculture, under the Department of the Interior, oversaw these projects. In June of 1933, Company 249 of the Civilian Conservation Corps arrived at Allegany State Park. One group in the Red House area was tasked with constructing a stone observation tower on the summit of the hill. The men commenced the stone tower in October 1933. Their campsite of World War I surplus tents was located just below where the tower now stands. The tower includes a winding staircase leading up to the top deck, which consisted of wooden guardrails. A carving of an arrow pointed north was etched in the center of the upper deck. The stone tower was completed in November of that year. And now you know the rest of the story. Next, let's check out the bear caves. Now you can take a 4-mile hike up to the bear caves, or you can do what we did, drive up there and park in a parking lot where it's only a short walk up in. Now there are many bears in the Allegany State Park area, and as we hike around in these huge rocks with these crevices, you can imagine seeing a bear. Wait a minute, right there's one. Oh no, that's just Riley, and her dad is coaxing her back out of that cave. Now these girls are pretty adventurous, and they've walked around back and climbed up on top of these huge boulders. There's another group that's made the 4-mile hike. Now later on in the video, I'll tell you a little bit more about these gigantic piles of rocks. And now we'll travel down off the mountain to the lowlands, where we will visit one of the many beaver dams here at Allegany State Park. Now right there on the right is the Beavers Lodge, and if we remain really quiet and still, we may be lucky enough to see one. Now we've come to the end of another beautiful summer day, and at sunset it's a good time to see the beaver. And sure enough, here this little fellow's crossing his pond. Oh, there he goes. Now when the beaver finds a spot that he likes, he can start to build his dam and make himself quite a lake. The beaver will build his dam for food storage and for protection. They build a dam and they make this artificial lake. And then they'll build their lodge. And the lodge looks like a big pile of sticks. Now the deeper water in that dam allows the beaver to travel near its home, and he's protected from other animals and predators. Beavers come out at night. They work on their dams at night, and they have some pretty serious teeth. They can chop down a tree in no time, and they'll carry mud and stones with their front paws, and they'll carry those tree limbs between their teeth. Now the beaver's teeth grow continuously. They never stop growing. Isn't that amazing? And they're strengthened with iron. And so they're perfect tools for their dam building trade. I always enjoy watching those beavers. Well, we'll leave the beavers now and we'll travel down and see this beautiful covered bridge. The Thomas L. Kelly Bridge is the only covered bridge in western New York. This covered bridge was built in 1989. It's a pedestrian bridge. In addition to foot traffic, though, the bridge is used by bicyclists and in the winter by snowmobile riders. The bridge is 110 feet long and it spans the Red House Creek. On both sides of the bridge is a paved walking path. One side leads to the Red House Lake camping area of the park. Next on today's Allegany State Park tour is a place called Thunder Rocks. One of the must-see places on every extended visit to the park is Thunder Rocks. It's located about halfway between the Quaker and Red House areas. Now, when we were at the Bear Caves a few minutes ago, I told you that I'd give you some more information about these gigantic rocks. And according to information compiled by Riley Brumigan and Owen Dudley for the Cattaraugus County Geology Trail, about 360 million years ago, New York State, along with Allegany State Park, was covered by a large shallow sea. The nearby Catskill Mountains were formed to the east during this time, and sediment from these mountains eroded westward towards western New York and deposited within this area. Thunder Rocks is made up of this sediment. Over some time, frost wedging and gravity erosion shaped the boulders into their present arrangement. Gravity was able to pull the large rocks down some slopes and hills. This resulted in the rocks being scattered away from each other. While this is the most accurate evidence of how the Thunder Rocks formed, some people still think glaciers caused their appearance, but this cannot be true because Allegany State Park is part of what is called the Salamanca Reentrant. This is a small area of New York State that has been untouched by glaciers. Thunder Rocks is also included in this area. Well, let's finish up today's tour by taking a look at the beautiful Quaker Lake. Quaker Lake is a 268-acre man-made lake located in Allegany State Park. It was formed in 1968 by damming up the Quaker Run. Quaker Lake is stocked every spring with yearling brown trout and 2-year-old brown trout. And fishing access is nearly unlimited, with shoreline fishing allowed around the entire lake except for the swimming area. There is a launch for small trailered boats, canoes, and kayaks located at the north end of the lake near the dam. Here we're traveling over the lake toward the beach, and in the distance you can see the beautiful beach house. So this brings us to the end of today's tour of Allegany State Park. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button and consider subscribing to Tim Tools 99.